Hey everybody, welcome back to Stratego Freaks for another edition of the King of Strategus tournament. I'm tuned in a little bit early and let me do a quick mic check to make sure that everything is up and running. Give me one moment. Can you see if that's running, son? Alright, we're going to make sure the audio is working. And while we're waiting for that clarification, let's take a look at the rankings. Let's see here. All right, Skyfall. Today's match is between current king Frosty down in the 11th spot and Skyfall, who has moved into the top 10 at a solid 716 rating, number 6 on the leaderboard. So Skyfall's been playing some really nice Stratego lately, and it's obvious by his move up the charts here. So congratulations, Skyfall, on your continued amazing play. Frosty's not far behind, and this should be an interesting match today. Let's back up here and see where we're at. All right, so we're just going to wait for our players to arrive, and I'm going to just flap my gums for a few minutes while we're waiting for these guys to show up. Give me one more second. I'm going to grab some water, and I'll be right back. Anyway, hopefully these guys show up promptly and we can get underway. If you've been following the live streams of the matches, we've had some pretty good games over the last couple weeks here. Frosty in winter was our last King of Strategus match, and Frosty managed to pull out a victory in a pretty fun game. Came down to the end there. Winner went for what was looked to be a corner flag and really committed to that. And Frosty had bombed in a sergeant, I believe, in the corner. And after Winner had used his general to identify the second bomb, he was down that big piece and I believe a couple minor pieces. And after that, the game was pretty much wrapped up. So Frosty did secure the win and is still is the current king. So that said, we've got some matches lined up in future. One thing I want to bring to your attention is next Thursday, our good friend Aaron Yeager, who is retired from Stratego, has decided that he wanted to lay down a challenge match to Nemesis. So he was going to come out of retirement and show his legendary skills against the kid Nemesis, and I'm sure they're going to play a really fun, exciting match. I'll be advertising that on Strategus. Oh, there's Skyfall. He's jumping in. We're waiting for his opponent, Frosty. But yeah, next Thursday, I believe 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm not quite sure what the GMT is for that, but we'll post that flyer up. And if you're interested in seeing that challenge match between two really strong players, that should be interesting. And once again, that's going to be next Thursday at 6 p.m. So shout out to Aaron for reaching out and wanting to play. And he's been a real supportive presence in the Stratego community, and a really strong player as well. So he's got a lot of skills and knowledge, and he's going to, hopefully these guys put on a performance that has some learning tools in there for our new players and intermediate players and such. So we'll see what happens. Another thing we have coming out soon is, we have a lot of videos in works. The next one that I think is going to be really informative for our beginners and intermediate players is it's basically a video on trading pieces and when it makes sense and when it doesn't. And it's basically two matches that took place between Nemesis and two pretty strong players. And I think the time frame in between the matches was about a year, but in between that year, you can see the course correction that Nemesis makes in his gameplay to not fall into the same traps that can happen when you're a beginner player. So he he recognized his mistakes and kind of built off of that. And I think this video that we're going to release pretty soon in the next couple of days will be pretty informative and interesting for sure. So hopefully you guys are going to tune in and check that out when we release it. So waiting patiently here, Skyfall is prompt and on time, and he's ready to rock and roll. I bet you he has already made a setup for today's match. He'll probably make some final adjustments just before the game starts. And who knows what Frosty's going to do. Pretty crafty player, as we saw in the last game that he played. I don't know about you guys, but where I'm at, the weather is tremendous. It's in the 90s today with some slight cloud coverage. Yeah, I'll give you a weather report. And we're going to probably jump in the pool later today and enjoy this, some of this summer weather that we're getting out here in California. California might be expensive, but the weather kicks ass. Yeah, I've been on a bit of a losing streak lately, and I've thrown a lot of games from winning positions, just doing stupid stuff like having a conversation mid-match, losing track of a piece and giving it up. And doing it more than once in a game is not acceptable. If you want to move up in ELO, which I do, you can't afford to throw games. You need to win your winning positions and figure out a way to get the W. I don't really like making excuses, so kudos to the guys that stayed focused and beat me. Okay, so it looks like they're in. Hopefully they'll make this viewable. And hopefully they're listening and are going to make it viewable. It wouldn't be much of a live stream if we couldn't see him playing. And still waiting. And hold on for 1 second. Let me write this. Oh, okay, there it goes. Never mind. All right. So it looks like we're up and running. And now we're just waiting for these guys to get their final preparations underway and expect an exciting match. I've had an opportunity to play both these guys. And I've only had maybe 1 or 2 games against Frosty. He's pretty damn good. And Skyfall is no joke either, as you can see by his ranking. As I mentioned, he is a top 10 player now and has been sitting above 700 for a little bit. Let's see who's tuning in today. It's Mantis and Marcy. Hey, Marcy. Yeah, Marcy's another one I'd love to see jump into the King of Strategus format. Yeah, it's hard to know what to expect from these players. I could give a quick scouting report. I do know that Skyfall has been, in certain times, has been known to have an active spy, not afraid to take chances and be aggressive. I've seen him run through setups before and take when he feels he has to. Has a pretty good sense for that. We did an instructional video a while back where he put me in a 50-50 situation on my marshal with his spy, and I chose wrong, and he gobbled up a marshal. And it was a pretty nice aggressive play. And that video can be seen on Stratego Freaks if you're interested in that. Yeah, it's been fun. I've been going through some of the channels on YouTube that have Stratego content, and there's a lot of really good stuff out there. Fairway, I mentioned, is a pretty impressive channel with a lot of good content. I think he's got well over 100 videos on there. And my favorite was Dobby's channel. He was the first guy. All right, so game underway. Enough of me talking about that. Let's see what happens here. Skyfall with the first move. Let's see if time plays a factor in this match. Okay, both players moving evenly throughout the entire board, all sides and the center being utilized. Okay, quick hit there. All right, scouting exchanges. Okay, 2 known pieces here, 6 and a captain. Tension in the center. More exchanging. Captains on each side revealed. All right, major revealed and a captain off the board. Skyfall with the slight advantage here. First big piece, Colonel in the center. It always feels good to scout an early Colonel, Gen, or Marshal. Just that information alone can change the whole complexion of the game. Another scout. Lots of scouts being used early here. Looks like Frosty's focusing on the center at this moment. Tension's building there. Now you can see on this the 7 file here has been opened up for clear transfer of pieces. And that's something you beginners should pay attention to. I've mentioned that in the last couple videos, that you need to be able to rotate pieces quickly, and having that open file allows you to do that. Frosty down to 2 scouts. Major coming down. Picking up the 6. I will not be repeating known pieces based off of the fact that that might remind some of our players, if they are listening to the stream, of what's taking place on the board. So I'm not going to be calling those out. It's really up to you at home to remember what pieces are what. A little bit of cat and mouse happening over here on the left side of the board on the A and B file. Center push. by Frosty. Little bit of jostling and shuffling, not wanting to give any reads. No bombs have been discovered. Very hard to say where a flag might be. Clearly a lot of potential for bombed-in flags. And if you're a beginner, you'll notice that Frosty has only moved one of the back two row pieces, and Skyfall has moved none of those. Okay, coming in hot. Now that colonel is on the board, but he picks up that major. Skyfall up the big piece at the moment. Locking horns in the center a little bit right now. Looks to discover some pieces here. Exchange of miners. You know, depending on the situation, on the game position, who you're playing, you know, sometimes bringing up a miner, using it as a scouting piece, but if you manage to get it into the setup, sometimes you can, you know, open up the flag really early, because most players do not expect a miner to come in too early. It's something that I've done in the past. Frosty bringing his pieces down into Skyfall's setup, really kind of keeping over the 50-yard line, if you will, and kind of constrict the board. Okay, Frosty down another captain and the major. Marshall revealed, gets the gen. Skyfall coming in and picking up a very strong piece. So down the gen, down the major, and down the captain. This is going to be a very challenging match for Frosty. He's going to have to navigate the rest of this game, you know, aggressively but smart. So it's going to be a challenge for sure. It'll be interesting to see how he progresses. Clearly didn't think that was the Marshal, and now at first Colonel exchange. And Skyfall's not, he's got material advantage and is not afraid to exchange right now for sure. Looking to simplify. We'll see if he keeps that up. Okay. Marshall's revealed in the setup. Frosty aggressive, coming in, trying to figure out the bones, the foundation of Skyfall setup. Where is that flag? Looking for any clue, any piece. Oh, he hits. Wow, and he picks up the gen. Aggressive move, real aggressive move from Frosty there. And all of a sudden, this game it could go any way. Really exciting stuff. These guys are playing super aggressive. This is fun to watch. Eye off the board. Skyfall still with the major lead and the captain, but suffering in some of those minor pieces. Oh, he's coming in. Now he's hitting. Both players are going to be, they're looking to be aggressive at this point. Oh, and he hits the bomb. He's down 2 kernels. Oh, and it's over. He resigns. Oh, what a fast ending there. My golly. Yeah, so I think both guys clearly playing aggressive and went for it. I think Skyfall probably was a bit premature on that hit, but felt like he needed to do something there. Very interesting match, super fast and exciting. And Frosty wins and retains the title. So I believe that is 2 title defenses for Frosty, our current king. So good job, Frosty. Skyfall, way to come out aggressively, make that an exciting game. And you better throw your hat back in the ring. We want to see you playing out here on the King of Strategus some more, bud. Anyways, guys, I hope you learned something from this game. It was a little, I'll probably review it, and if I find anything that's super pertinent to the education part, we'll talk about that. And let's see. I'm not quite sure who's next on the roster for Frosty. I'll have to look at that, but we'll make a flyer for the next competition and see how that goes. Anyways, guys, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the match. I'll see you guys on Strategus Freaks soon. Bye now.